What's going on, guys? Dvzl from Team Stand and Draw here, bringing you guys another card analysis. This time I was gonna choose the new Neo Nectar card that got released in GBT02, the Generation Rare card, but then this card's got released and it made me thinking about clans that don't unflip. So let's get to the card. The card's name is Rain Elemental Tier. It just got released. It's a new Elemental, but it's not a Stride unit. It's actually a Grade 1 that could be put in any deck. His ability is Soul Blast 2 when this unit's placed on rear. Um, choose up to the same number of damage that's face down for every G unit that you have face up in the G zone, and turn it face up. So, for instance, if you have two face up G units and you unflip 2 damage. So, and his other abilities, he could be any clan, so he could be put in any deck. And I'm just going to talk about the pros and cons that I see for this card. Starting with the pros. First pro, it could be put in any. It gives new decks with counterblast heavy effects a chance to do their abilities more than once. So, just for starters, I got some cards here. The unlocking cards, those could be pretty counterblast heavy if you're fighting a very locking deck like Link Joker. If you're fighting Link Joker, if they lock down your field, then you could potentially unlock it back and still have counterblast to do the abilities. I don't know who's really gonna still using unlocking cards, because that was like a long time ago, but set 14. But just in case. Zeal, even though he is getting support, his ability is kind of counterblast heavy, like saying you can only do it like 2 times unless you unflip damage. Mega Colony from my teammate Asama. He has a giant issue with counterblasting in Mega Colony, as in they don't unflip damage. So this is gonna change the game for them. And Spike Brothers. Spike Brothers already have 2 ways to unflip damage, which is the critical trigger and Jumbo Stun Gun. But giving them an unflipper pretty much changed the game. And I have some clans. Some clans aren't here, but it's good. This card will be used for every clan. So it gives us a fighting chance to do the abilities more than once and do more skills. Um, Next pro, it's 1k higher than the usual damage on Flipper. So the usual damage on Flipper for like every clan is like a 5k, and it's a Soul Blast 2 and Unflip 2. So it's a 1k higher, so it could make the difference in your rows. And on top of that, it doesn't only Unflip 2, so if you have more than 2 G units, then you can unflip potentially up to like 4 units. Or if you have 8, then you could potentially unflip all your damage if you can't blast it all. And last pro I saw, it could be put in all decks. So generally you only need, in my opinion, you only need 4 of this card, pretty much. You can put it in any deck and then just swap it out to your next deck. But if you really feel like you need more than 4 of this card, then you can buy 4 of this card and just whatever. Now the cons I have for this card, potentially, for archetype decks, it could seize as a problem, since it's not going to be the archetype card if you have to play it in an archetype deck that counterblast is heavy. It could be a problem. Who knows? I saw a post on the wiki for this card. People were talking about CBD, using this in a CBD deck, and it poses a problem potentially if you damage check it, or since you're gonna be fighting for soul, and that made me see as it like potentially a downfall. So if it's not since it's not gonna be any archetype, it's just gonna be for every clan. It might pose as a problem. The second con I see, it forces the user to use Stride, even if the deck isn't made for Stride. So if you're using like a good old, let's see, Dragonic Overlord trial deck, but back in the day Dragonic Overlord, kind of blast 3 to attack a rare and stand back up and lose Twin Drive. If you want to do that, I don't know who's still running that deck, but if you're gonna do that, then you have to play the Stride units. I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna use Stride, but I'm pretty sure there's gonna be the few that don't want to use Stride. So if you want to use the Unflipper, you have to use Stride. And my last con, it somewhat ties into the last con, the previous con. Not only does this force you to use Stride units, it forces you to use the Cray Elemental Stride units. So um, the new set coming up in for both Japan and English, we're getting Fighters Collection 2015. 2015. That's the third Fighters Collection. So each clan is getting two Stride units. So they could be good or bad, but they are clan specific Stride units, which could change the game depending on how you use it. But this card, it only unflips damage depending on the number of Cray Elemental units. So if you were planning on going 4/4 with your two new Stride units and use this card, you probably would have a bad time because you can't unflip damage unless you have Cray Elemental Stride units. So those are my pros and cons. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below, and let's catch you guys later.